Hello and welcome to Atlanta News First Sports Tonight. Emily Gagnon is with us tonight. I'm Fred Khalil, and Emily, let's get going. All right? What do you think?
I think KSU is the top story, Fred.
KSU is the top story. You know, this is a program I remember because I'm old and I've been here a long time. I remember the NAIA tournament. They went, all the way back, won it all. Then Division II, the Owls won it all. They beat Columbus State in 2004 along the way before taking care of Southern Indiana in the final. So they've been Division II champs. The late Tony Ingle was the coach that they got it all going over there. And now you've got Amir Abdul-Rahim, and the KSU Owls are in the big dance for the first time ever. I know you were over there a couple of days.
Yeah, listen, it is like truly a feel-good story, but this is what this time of the year is about. And that's why people watch the NCAA tournament. And that's why my mom and sister, who aren't sports fans, will fill out 15 different brackets and name them something different and just try to guess who's going to move on.
Yeah.
And teams like KSU that nobody knows about other than us, and that's not a dig, right? That's not a dig on the Owls.
Of course, yeah.
But, like in New Jersey or like across the country in Seattle, does anybody know who or what KSU represents? They might think Kansas State,
Exactly,
they might not
yeah,
even
you're
think
right.
Kennesaw State. So that's why this time of the year is the best time and the best tournament there is, because teams like the Owls have the opportunity to be one of 68 teams still competing, while big name schools like UGA aren't. I mean, it's that simple, right?
And there's talk they may be in the first four. We don't know. They may be, a 15 or 15 seed, and then that, of course, will put them against the number 2 seed somewhere. So it's going to be tough. We don't know where but you can watch the selection show, Selection Sunday, on Atlanta News First and
so
CBS.
Automatic bid, doesn't that get you into?
Oh, you're in, but they just don't know where they'll be.
But
we don't know.
I didn't know an automatic bid was a first four team. I didn't know that.
It could be. It could be.
Oh,
I don't know.
that. I didn't know.
They're likely going to be a 15 seed somewhere.
Right.
So
I'm gonna have to look that up, because I don't know
that could put them anywhere.
That if you get an automatic bid that you
are in the first four.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Okay,
well, you earned your ticket to actually go dancing.
But there are 15 seeds that have been in there. They consider that part of the tournament.
Isn't it
that play-in bracket?
I thought it was at. I didn't realize. I did not realize.
Well, we can look at it. I mean, we can look at it. I mean, I just noticed. I was just reading where there's talk they could be there. There's projections they're going to be a 15 seed, and I forget the team that they've got them matched up against, but we'll see.
Yes, and let's say, Fred, they get past the first round, and it's going to be a tall task. But they very well, a team like that could become this year's Cinderella story. I'm trying to think. Last year, was that St. Pete or St. Petersburg?
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's. There
Correct,
you go.
Yes.
I mean, they took us all by storm, and just the fact that I didn't even know the team, off the top of my head right now, tells you that once again is why the NCAA tournament is so special, and why sports fans and non-sports fans can like it so much, is because of these storylines that are just incredible from these small teams out in the middle of nowhere. But Kennesaw State's not in the middle of nowhere.
No, it's a big school, enrollment-wise. It's a huge school, but as you said, people don't know.
No.
Kennesaw, they can't say, oh yeah, Kennesaw, that's north of Atlanta. I know exactly where that is.
And Amir Abdul-Rahim, the head coach.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. So I knew he had coached at Texas A&M. He was there for 4 years, but he helped lead the Aggies to 3 NCAA tournaments while he was there. So 3 of the 4 seasons that he was on the coaching staff at Texas A&M, he helped them at this time of the year. So to me, that he's got some experience at this time of the year, not as the head coach, but to be able to face these big moments on the biggest stages. And what I think is pretty cool, yesterday's game, the ASUN Championship, which they had to win to be able to get an automatic bid, it was the first nationally televised game at the Convocation Center ever.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it's nice that they have that new arena, and Kennesaw State, they've got a huge enrollment, as we just said. I mean, that's a big place. But not a lot of people know about it, but it's kind of cool that I'm glad that KSU is in the tournament. That's really neat, and I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, Amir Abdul-Rahim from Wheeler High School, and that's a rich tradition in high school basketball around here, and that's really neat as well, And his brother Sharif was a big-time player who played at Cal and then played in the NBA for a long time.
Yeah, it'll be. Listen, well, we're I guess a week and a half away now from at least the first 4 games.
And a week from tomorrow, right? Tuesday, yeah.
So, next
Thursday,
this upcoming weekend, but next weekend will be that. Like I think I told you last week, I think it's the best. Like 4 days in sports, that first and second round, because there are so many games. You can sit on your couch starting at noon and go all the way till 1 in the morning if you wanted to.
That's right.
So.
And unless you're a guy like me, you won't have to get up a whole lot, right? You can just sit there and watch.
Yes. If you're a
all
guy
right.
like Fred.
We're going to move on now to the next one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Derek Carr to the Saints. That'd be a good fit after Drew Brees, Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill.
Listen,
What
the
do you
Saints certainly didn't get worse today.
No, they did not.
They got better, if you ask me, as far as the quarterbacks that we've seen in the last couple
Oh,
of
yeah,
seasons.
I think they got a lot better. They got a guy who can, who will fit this, well, we don't know what scheme it'll be, but, he'll fit that, he'll fit down there in New Orleans. He's a good quarterback, obviously. He's been in the NFL. He's an experienced guy, and that's something they haven't had. They haven't had an experienced star since Drew Brees left.
Well, what's interesting, Fred, is I said it when this first happened. Like, I didn't feel like Derek Carr was so bad that the Raiders needed to do what they did and get rid of him. So I thought that was an interesting move on their end. They might know something we don't. Maybe they think he's just getting a little too old. But I still think he's got plenty in the tank. And if there's one thing we know about athletes, they go down swinging. So he's going to want to prove his old team wrong in so many ways. And, I mean, listen, the city of New Orleans is going to embrace whoever goes in there. And if he wins,
that's their team.
Really
that's their team. I mean, that is their pro team.
Yep.
And, look, they've got a good running game too, so they've got Alvin Kamara to run the ball, right? They've got Chris Olave at the wideout. So, I mean, they can put pressure on teams in more than one way where the quarterback doesn't have to do all the work. And that's really a key too.
And I agree. And there's still so much that needs to be kind of discovered with the Saints. It's not just a quarterback issue. They brought in, they have a new head coach. Sean Payton is no longer there.
Right.
So there's so many of their big puzzle pieces left. And now they're kind of putting it all back together. And, Derek Carr will be a huge piece of that puzzle and how he can groove with that offense. And we've seen him play really good ball in
he's a good
past,
quarterback.
And maybe he slowed down a bit, kind of like, I don't want to compare him to Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan in the last
similar
few years
situation though. I mean,
was slowing down here in Atlanta, and it was like one of those things. The Falcons were ready, and it appears that that's how the Raiders felt too. But that's not to say that Carr is going to go to the Saints and just lay down.
Right.
He's going to go there and fight, and want to start and play and face the Bucks and the Falcons and the Panthers twice a season. So as a Falcons fan, if you're watching us, you'll be seeing Derek Carr twice a year.
And here's the thing too. The Saints elected to kind of scotch tape things together, instead of doing a total rebuild. They're just kind of trying to piece it together and keep it together and win as many games for as long as they can rather than just, completely redo the roster and remake everything. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out as well.
Listen, the NFC South has just been down like the last couple of years, right? And you hate to see it.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I don't know, Fred, like maybe 10 years ago, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. At one point, there wasn't ever a back-to-back NFC South champ. Like every year it was someone different.
Right. You think about
the division was so competitive.
Exactly. Well, you think about the quarterbacks that were in the league, right? I mean, you had Matt Ryan playing at the top of his game. You had Cam Newton at the top of his game. And you had, who am I thinking of here?
Who are we missing?
Drew Brees, of course. And then Carolina had a couple of guys in there, a couple of different guys that were playing pretty well.
When you think of Carolina, well, you said Cam Newton.
I did say Cam Newton. I'm sorry, I didn't mean Carolina.
So did we get them all?
I know Tampa Bay. That's who I couldn't think of.
The Bucks.
The Bucks
Who was
quarterback
there
at that
before
time.
Tom Brady?
Oh, it would have been Brad, the guy that was, what's his name's brother-in-law.
Because the Bucks went through some nasty years.
Yeah, but they won a Super Bowl with
in his
with
first
Brad.
season.
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about the Bucks like that long ago?
Was it that long ago?
When Tony before Tony Dungy left, and then Gruden came in. You're talking
right.
about Gruden's first season there?
No. I'm sorry. What?
Because that's when they won it, right?
Yeah. Was it his first
with
season
Warren
or second?
Sapp?
Yeah, they did.
And one of the Barber brothers?
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about more recent than that. Because
Wait, Garcia was the head, not the head coach. Garcia was the quarterback then, right?
No, I don't think he was a starter.
Leave it
We're
up
all
to me and
messed up.
Fred to go all the way back however many years.
29 years ago.
We don't need to go that far. But
Okay.
that was the last time before the Tom Brady era that they won the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, yeah, it was the last time, right? No doubt. I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I didn't say you were.
So I'm just, okay. Let's move to the next one. The Ravens have 21 hours, or well, less than that now, right? So it's 20 hours, whatever, less
They don't
than a
have
day to franchise tag Lamar. It's 4 o'clock tomorrow, right? Or, see what happens. Ozzie Newsome, the Ravens GM, though, I found this so funny because Ozzie was on the Bernie Kosar show. So there's like a little Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens. It used to be the Raven, used to be the Brown. Yeah, little thing there. And on his show, he said they'll franchise tag Jackson, who obviously wants the big deal, right? But you got Taysom Hill making, 32 mils? And Lamar makes less than that. So Lamar's going to get paid. 17 TDs, 7 interceptions last year.
Well, it would be back-to-back franchise tags for him, correct?
Right, yes.
And there's like the non-exclusive tag or something
yes.
like that. And that would mean that the Ravens could, if there was an offer that came to the table, the Ravens could then match it.
Correct.
Or get 2 first-rounders.
Exactly.
Do the Ravens know something we don't? That's a legitimate question here.
Yeah, I know.
What's the beef?
I don't know. I mean, he seems to be a good guy. He's obviously a great player. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they don't want to spend that or if they think they're.
I mean, he's been injured a bit, but what athlete
really
hasn't?
I know. I don't know.
And he's not going to play injured because he's on a franchise tag.
Right.
So, of course.
Because he's not going to give up a future.
Right. So I'm a little confused here. What it is with the Ravens. Can they just come out and say it? Or are we going to have Lamar Jackson here in Atlanta come September?
So what do you think?
Out for the Falcons. I mean, what is it? Ravens?
Everybody wants to see Lamar Jackson here in a Falcons uniform,
yeah,
right?
And I'm not hating the idea.
No.
I'm not. Because, Fred, you've told me, and this was before my time, not before my time of watching football, but it was my time before living in Atlanta. You told me the Mike Vick era here was booming.
It was huge. It was
Right.
absolutely huge.
And it united the city.
It did. It did. It was unbelievable. I mean, the dome
This was
rocking.
pre-dogfights.
Right.
Okay?
The
Michael
dome.
Vick did a lot for this city.
He did. The dome was rocking. There's no doubt about it. They beat the Packers in Green Bay. I was there when they did that in the playoff game, and nobody had done that. It was huge. It was unbelievable. And he just brought so much excitement. And the dome, people were hanging off the rafters, cheering for Mike Vick and the Falcons.
And listen, we have no issue with Matt Ryan.
No,
None.
not at all.
He took the Falcons to the Super Bowl even
He
though
did.
they lost. That's something Michael
He got him the
Vick couldn't
28-3
do.
lead, right?
Yes. And then not much after that. But that is what Vic did. And he united the city and brought all the people together. And like you said, I would have loved to be at a game, which I never went to a game at the Dome as far as when he was quarterback. That would have been amazing. And I do think if you bring Lamar Jackson here, this city will just light up.
Oh,
I
it'll
mean,
go nuts. Yeah, it'll be crazy.
and from everything you read, I don't have information on this. I don't have any inside information on this. But from everything you read, it appears that the Falcons are the one team that's at the very top of the list to get Lamar Jackson if any of this were to happen. It appears that the Falcons would be the team.
They're the team at the
It
top.
makes sense.
It does make
makes
sense.
There is, I mean.
No, it does make sense. I mean, they'll
We
have to give
need-
up a lot, though, obviously, to get him.
Yes, but listen, they're.
You know what? I don't want any green bananas. You know what I mean? When I go to the grocery store, sometimes my wife will buy some bananas that are green.
Carl is smart.
I don't want green bananas, man. I want the ones that are ripe. I want to eat now. I don't want green bananas.
Yeah.
I want to win now.
It's yes.
Okay.
And you know what? I think that the Falcons need it. It's been a while. Okay, it really has. But Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, Fred,
Yes.
their first round picks since they have taken over here have been what? What positions? You got a tight end and a wide receiver. So, of course, you got Kyle Pitts at tight end at number
Right.
4 overall, their first
Had to take him.
season here. And then they took
Drake London.
out of USC.
Correct.
So you've got to have a quarterback that
Southern
can
Cal.
throw to your precious people that you have drafted so high and you're giving so much money to.
Exactly. And, and Arthur Blank will spend whatever it takes to bring a winner here. We know that. He'll do whatever it takes to win. I believe that.
Oh, well, I believe that he's sick of losing. That's for a fact, and he'll do what he needs to do. But it might, you got to follow the rules every once in a while.
Follow the rules? Wow. Okay, we're going to move to the next subject.
The money rules.
Speaking of following rules, Calvin Ridley is reinstated to
look
the
at
Jacksonville
you.
Jaguars. He made a bad mistake gambling on games when he was hurt, but can't have it both ways, right? The NFL takes a lot of money from casinos and gaming. We've talked about this all the time. So Calvin Ridley is back on the field playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars after that suspension. Cost him a lot of money. Could end up costing him his career. We don't know. What are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley?
I think he's going to go to Jacksonville and be fine.
Good.
Honestly, I think that he's got a lot left in the tank, and
He's young.
He has not played in a bit. Okay, even before he was suspended, he wasn't playing.
Right.
He was away from the team.
Right, because he didn't like the coach or whatever, right?
So he was dealing with
So
personal
I got to
issues.
leave, yeah.
And so he, I remember it was like when they went overseas, I believe. It was. He did not travel with the team, and then we didn't see him again, and then he was suspended for a year. And it was one entire year. It was indefinitely, but it ended up being a year because
Right.
it was March 2022 where he got suspended
Exactly.
by Roger Goodell, the commissioner.
And now he's back.
You can't bet on the game when you're a player.
No.
But he was away from the game, and I guess while he did it, got caught. He certainly went through the consequences.
Yeah, it cost him a year of his career. It's
Fred,
a lot
you
of money.
played ball. You didn't play in the NFL, but
No, I
it's
didn't.
hard. Even if you're just out for one game with an injury, how hard is it to
It's
stay away
hard,
from
yeah.
your team and to sit on the sideline and just, I can't imagine like where his head has been, his headspace has been in the last little bit.
That would be crazy, and not being able to do what, that's how you earn a living. So, I mean,
Right, not being able to work.
that's what he does. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, that would be tough.
And it's funny because like Cordero Patterson, CP, spoke out in support of him
Right.
during the season and saying he absolutely loved Calvin Ridley, and he just hoped that he knew that he was there for him, and saying all the right things that like a teammate and friend would say. And I know CP wanted him back with the Falcons.
Right.
That obviously isn't happening, but starting today, Ridley can be back on a field
Right.
with the
And he'll be back with the Jaguars, yep.
doing whatever, team activities, it doesn't matter. There's no limitations. So now he can go out there, do what he loves, and
Play catch with Trevor Lawrence.
yeah, let's be honest, like he played at Bama. He made a mistake, and I'm not here to say
No,
it was a big mistake, a small mistake, but he was suspended a year. He did his time.
he did his time.
And so, other players have done worse and gotten less time.
Well, the NFL takes a lot of money from casinos and different gaming sites as advertising. So I think they need to look at that next time. Look, it's not right what he did. It's wrong.
Right.
But to drop a hammer like that,
Like, we're not saying what he did was okay.
no, I'm not at
But
all.
what I am saying clearly here is that other players have done worse
Right.
and suffered less consequences.
And the NFL takes money from all those people that Calvin was giving money to. So that's bad.
It's a conversation for another day.
It is a conversation for another day. We've
But,
got
hey, Fred-
one final time. Go ahead. What?
Will you not agree with me in saying, like, he's in a good spot right now simply because the Jags are coming off a heck of a season?
Yeah, he's in it.
And they're, like, on an upward tick. And the momentum right now with the Jaguars, it feels good. Like, it
Yeah.
really feels
Well, you've
good.
got a guy calling plays, Doug Peterson, right? And then you've got a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who's going to get him the ball. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting if you're a Jaguars fan, and if you're Calvin Ridley, I think it's got to be exciting too.
Yeah, you've got a young quarterback that's going to throw to you. And not to mention, like, Fred just talked about the offense. Their defense is
big
banging.
time, yeah.
I mean, they are so good. I mean, I like to bring up
Trayvon, right?
Foye whenever I can. When Foye Aluakin's last season, which a lot of people don't even know who that is. Let me
Linebacker
clarify.
for the Falcons.
Foye Aluakin, his last season with the Falcons, he had the most tackles in the league. Nobody even knew who the guy was, but he had the most tackles. Great. That is a great thing, Fred. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's a good stat. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, to be the leading tackler in the NFL.
Number one guy.
That's huge.
And then he goes to the Jags guys, and guess what he does in his first season?
Leads them in tackling.
Leads the league in tackles again. Back-to-back seasons.
He's a tackling machine.
Well, I mean, he's a linebacker, so he should have big numbers.
He should have big numbers. They put him in position to do that, right?
Yes, yes.
You're an inside linebacker. You should lead the team in tackles.
That's correct.
There's no doubt about it.
Right.
Every
Coaches will
year.
always tell me that, like, well, look at his position. But
That's
like,
it.
Let's be honest. To be the leading
You have to make the plays, though.
tackler
I mean, you have to make the plays.
in the National Football League 2 years in a row, that's
huge.
unbelievable. To go from one team that you were with for 4 years to a brand new team and do it again, I mean, props to him. But also, I mean, Trayvon Walker, it was, you know, obviously, if for anybody who doesn't know, the number 1 overall pick out of Georgia. It was his first season, his rookie season, and I know quite a few people were hoping for more from him. I mean, listen, expectations are big when you're the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
But give him some time. Like, he's still developing.
Sure. He
did 3 years
he's
at
young.
Georgia. Yeah, he's a baby in football years.
Right.
And
was he 21?
not only that, like
20,
he
21?
hasn't hit his ceiling yet.
Right.
Like, he really, really hasn't, because he didn't play every down at Georgia.
No.
He really didn't. And
That's how loaded Georgia is on defense.
And it's just
Trayvon
like, I mean,
Walker doesn't play every down. That's how loaded the Dogs are on defense with Kirby's defense. I mean,
it's kind of like okay, we're not going to talk about what happened with Jalen Carter last week, but it's kind of like Jalen Carter, and I'm just talking about the football situation. He didn't play every down with Georgia. Do you get what I'm saying?
No.
So when he was being mentioned again before last week's situation as the number 1 overall pick, a lot of people, it was kind of like the Trayvon conversation again, like, wait a minute, like, these guys didn't play every down, you know, when they were in college and all the things, but
they didn't have to.
Right.
They don't have to. So why? And just think of this: if you're an NFL scout, the guy's got more tread on the tire.
They're very well trained, but I will say the ceiling for them very high.
Oh yeah,
very, very high. So
okay.
I look forward to it.
What's on your mind? That's our last topic. What's on Emily's mind tonight?
It's a loaded question. It's a Monday, Fred.
Uh-oh.
But
it's a loaded question.
This is what I find to be very sweet.
Yes.
So let's go back to KSU really quickly.
Kennesaw State. I'm excited about
Amir
that. Amir Abdur-Rahim.
Yesterday, after they
won
their
for Coach
first
Lip at Wheeler.
ever A-Sun championship game, beat Liberty. He broke down in tears, Fred.
Right.
And not because his team had just won and they're going dancing for the first time ever. It's because he wanted to talk about his father, who passed away during the pandemic.
I saw that, yeah.
And it was so incredibly sweet to hear a grown man say how much he wished his dad had seen him in, you know, one of his biggest moments in his career.
Yep.
And I loved every second of it because, thank the Lord, my dad is still here with me, and I love him to death, and he's in Canada. And just as, like, a daddy's girl, you just love to see that human aspect.
No,
of
that
people,
I mean that is yeah. I mean, that's
and
a
in
very
your biggest moments, whether your parent is alive or unfortunately passed away, you like want them to be there, you know?
No doubt.
And so I haven't been able to stop thinking about that since yesterday because it was so, so sweet. And even Fred, you unfortunately lost your father at a younger age. And
young age, yeah.
When you talk about him, it like gives me chills, you know, because it's,
well, yeah, because I mean, I think about him every day, you know.
Yeah. So to me, I don't know when I'll stop thinking about that because I think I'll think about it throughout their tournament run.
It's something you don't ever stop thinking about. Yeah. I'll tell you that. And he's right. You think about your dad every day. Every day. Now a day goes by. Where I don't think about Tony.
So if
Tony was here, he'd be your best buddy.
I'm sure he
would be.
Fred and I are pretty good friends still.
Yeah.
But I think it's sweet that he's doing this for his father, and he's made it very well known.
No doubt. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for Sports Tonight. Look at this. Already 6:57. How about that?
What a special
if we were on the radio, we would say it's 6:57, 3 before 7 o'clock.
Good thing we're not on the radio.
I know. Thanks so much for watching Sports Tonight on Atlanta News First. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Deuces.
Deuces.
Is that the right one?